Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Life Chronicles the Podcast. This is the time where we get together in depth behind people's stories. Now, we talked about this time and time again. There are a lot of short segments where we don't necessarily have the opportunity to go deeper into the stories, but we're hoping that in this conversation, we won't have that issue. So today joining me is Asta Sonner, who is at the forefront of artificial intelligence here in the country, and I can't wait to learn more about that conversation right now. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming. I really appreciate your time. I understand that you're a busy person. Every single time I reach out to you, you tell me, I'm so sorry, bro, Alpha. This project that I'm working on, this meeting that I'm heading to, I can already see how you're soaring in the industry. And I'm very proud to see how
Thank
fast you've grown. We met a few years ago, a year ago.
Yeah.
And even then, like you were already super busy, but the growth rate is phenomenal. I'm very impressed to see how it's been. But please, before that, some people who live under a rock
hmm
and they might not know who Asta Sonner is. So for those out there who might be interested to him, can you kindly give a brief introduction about yourself? Tell us who you are.
So my name is Asta. Asta Sonner, but I prefer Asta. I am German, Fijian, and I haven't mentioned this before, but I'm also a little bit Ratuman. Right. So I am German born, came here when I was 10 years old, had some rough patches, and no school qualifications, Form 3 or Form 4 dropout. Managed to build up my marketing agency, and now I deal with AI. So the main goal right now is to just utilize AI in businesses around Fiji to ensure that communication is taken care of.
I hope you see how inspiring your origin story is for a lot of people. Now, you talked about it on on a different show, and you elaborated on how it's a rags to riches sort of story. So he's having that angle. Right now, I want to focus on the person. And before we even get into that, I have some fun warm-up questions that I usually ask just to get you in the mood. But don't try and think too much about it. Just say what the first thing that comes into you.
I'll try.
So we have a lot of things to get into, and you'd be surprised 30 minutes still isn't a lot of time. But if you could describe your life right now in one word, what would it be? Your life.
Busy. I thought this area is busy. Um, there is a lot going on, and especially the field that I am in, which is AI marketing, particularly AI. That particular field is growing so fast, and if I want to ensure that I can provide the best possible information and knowledge and resource to those around me that I want to educate on this topic so they don't feel afraid of it, then I need to be always on my toes. I always need to be working. Yeah.
How did you develop your interest for artificial intelligence in the beginning? I'm sure you're sick and tired of hearing this question over and over again, but I'm still curious, and I'd love for you to say that on record. How'd you get into AI?
Okay. So the first thing that I created was the marketing agency, Limitless Marketing. Um, and we were focusing on solving one problem. We noticed that businesses weren't able to get a lot of incoming leads. Maybe like 5, 10 people message through their social media. A lot of them even didn't even pay attention to their social media. And so we were like, okay, we can build around this. So I created a marketing agency. I studied it myself to different ad strategies because I didn't want to rely on a third party. I like to learn everything myself first before I either outsource or I grow and expand. So once I had studied the marketing strategy for ads, creatives, etc., I had put it into practice. I managed to get a client, put it into practice, and we solved one problem, which was the leads. Other business had a bunch of people coming in, but we created another one in the process. The business just didn't have the manpower to respond to all the incoming messages.
So they got what they, but now it's too much and you're drowning in success.
Exactly.
So how do you solve that problem?
So we saw that as every single person that is not being responded to on time is a lost potential client, right? And that we don't look at it just as dollar value, but we also look at it as brand reputation. So if I'm a business and I have 500 people messaging me and I'm just not responding to them, they feel like they're being ignored, and that doesn't leave a good image on the business itself. So I was looking at different automation systems with things like ManyChat, which isn't really an AI thing, it's just an automation thing, and a bunch of other platforms. And then, to my surprise, ChatGPT came out, and I was like,
So you wait, you what? Sorry, I cut you off.
"No, you said sorry, you're good."
Please hold that thought. I want you to continue. But you started this before ChatGPT casting.
Absolutely, I was already in it before ChatGPT. Yeah. So I was looking for a solution to manage all of these incoming, leads, and growing the business team wasn't really an option. So when ChatGPT came out, I was working at the ports at the time, and I called in sick. Uh, I called in sick, and I sat on my computer, and I spoke to the system for good solid 9 hours, looking at all the different angles, asking all the possible questions, seeing where its limits were. Back then, it wasn't as heavily limited with their filters, so it would actually answer a bunch of things, everything, almost, yeah, pretty much everything, right? With some caveats, of course, but pretty much everything. And I was like, by the end of the day, I was like, okay, I want this thing to work for me. And so I researched. And when I found that they had released, literally as they released the API, right, which is pretty much a connection, right, for us to use the model, I immediately figured out how to do it. I used ChatGPT, I used some of my own knowledge, I did some research manually, and I was able to integrate in a way where the business information was living in a database and the AI, the model, was using that information as its brain. So it knew, it had all the capabilities, but it knew. I pretty much took the model and I said, listen, all you're supposed to do is answer questions based off this information. And then I hooked it up. I hooked it up. And it was mind blowing to see the messages coming in, immediate response, another message from the same person, a follow up, friendly, efficient, leading closer and closer to a sale. The reason why people reach out to social media in most cases to like a page asking a question about a product is because there's a gap of uncertainty. They don't know if this product fits them, right? So they're like, hey, how much is it? Where are you located? Is this good for my farm, or is this good for my home? And so having all of these questions answered immediately and then brought to a call to action, we call it a CTA, call to action, which is, well, since I've answered all your questions and you seem very interested, here's the link to purchase it. And it was an immediate flow from interested, all the questions answered, to a purchase. And yeah,
Is limitless marketing still a thing?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Limitless marketing operates behind the scenes for most of our things. Right now, my what's the word for it? My focus.
Oh, yeah.
My focus is ensuring that as many people around me, as many people that I know, can have the accessibility to AI technology without feeling that it's too far of reach. Right? Because if you look at AI chatbots and AI systems back then when it just dropped, it was very confusing. And again, by no means am I a super genius or anything like that. I'm not super intelligent. I don't have academically I'm really bad. But I had a passion, I had a goal, and I had some resources. And now I want to take all of this and package it in a way where I can give it to those who need it without them having to struggle to go through everything that I went through.
So from limitless marketing, and that's amazing. Because you see now after this conversation, I'm hoping to see if you can hook me up. Right, but then you ventured into a new direction,
Mhm.
which is currently your project or what you're working on right now. Now, I'd love to seg into that just in a little bit. But what were some of the before that? What were some of the first challenges when you started out limitless marketing as a business? Now, I'm sure that with anything, even though you have a job where you literally solve problems all day, you have problems of your own. So, what were some of the challenges to your business and you?
The early challenges were credibility.
Right.
Right? You can have an amazing product, right? And you can scream it out to the world, but if you don't have credibility, no one trusts you. No one gives you the opportunity, right? No one says, okay, you're into my business. They don't give you the chance to, for you to blow their mind. So that was one of the biggest challenges. Now, many people look now and they see them doing okay for myself, right? I'm always still learning and growing, but there was a time when I was calling maybe 400, 800 businesses a day, sitting there, um, scraping together all the money that I did make. I had a job at the time. So my day job, which took me from 7 a.m. sometimes till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or sometimes overnight, that job paid for my rent, my water, my electricity, my food, my internet. I was able to live with it. I had a very, very basic HP laptop, like those old relics.
Hey, dude, I'm a HP.
No, this is the old one. And I did everything on that. And having a job allowed me to take some of that money. It's very expensive now, right? To sustain yourself with rent and food and all that stuff. And I had very little money. And so I saved. I was very smart with money. I didn't go out drinking, right? Where everyone else went out drinking, having fun, partied, I did. I stayed home. I grinded. I worked because I had a goal. So I took that money and I invested in whatever resource I could. I, like for example, the PayPal account, the Skype account, calling numbers from overseas, manually going to all the businesses, Googling businesses, getting the information down there, email address, their phone number, their name. Do they have a chatbot? Do they not? Do they have marketing? Do they not? Looking at the analytics of their pages and then reaching out, with the same thing like, hi, I'll be honest with you. Like, this is a cold call and you can hang up right now. But if you give me 60 seconds, I could maybe help you. Would you be interested? And almost every single time it'd be like, no, lose this number. Don't call me again. Because I was calling all around the world.
My friend.
I was calling all around the world.
And it can come off as a scam.
Yeah, it can. Absolutely.
Yeah. It sounds like one.
But there were a couple that gave me an opportunity. They were like, okay, sure. You have 60 seconds. And I would explain exactly what I've seen on their page, what we're offering to do for them, free of charge. So this is actually a really good, really good idea right here. When I started out looking for clients, I did not pitch them with a price. I say this: we'll handle your marketing, we'll handle your AI system, we'll handle your graphics. At the time, it was just me. And after 30 days, if you want to continue with us, then we sign a contract and we add X amount of price.
That's risky because
Right.
it's time and energy going into something that.
But if you don't like our service or if you think it's not a good fit, the only thing we would request of you is a review, a video review. And so what we would do is we would take the good and use that as reputation to reach out to other clients.
So you were solving the first problem.
Exactly. And if it was bad, we would take it and learn from it. I say we, but it was me at the time, just me, no one else, right? And so I would take it and I would learn from that. And that's how I, one, fix the problem of reputation, and two, fix the problem of, my problems, knowing what was wrong with my pitch, knowing what was wrong with my setup. And
Would you publish the reviews, the bad ones?
I don't know. Those ones are for me, That's just for me.
I get it. I think when I was younger, I had a tutorial system going on at the time. So it was very similar to what you did.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'll help you with your first assignment. If you think you like the tutorial, then I'm so glad that you did that. But your team obviously grew.
Yes.
How did that happen?
So during the time, I was in a lot of different communities, many Discord communities, and I was looking at individuals that had skill sets, right? Because there's constantly people, sharing, screenshots of their ad strategies, sharing screenshots of the graphic design, of their video editing, and things like that. And many of them were not true. People grab it from somewhere else and put it out there. They try to get hired, get paid the first time and dip. So during the time, I jumped into voice chats. So just jump into a community with, let's say, just this community had maybe 48 to 52,000 members, all within the marketing, social media agency space. So I would jump into there. This has nothing to do with AI. This is still social media marketing. The AI kept up. AI was good. I knew that part. But strategies and team growth. So I would sit in there and I would give free advice to everyone who would join. They would come in and say, hey, how do I set this up? I'll tell them. Because when I first joined, no one told me. I remember asking, how do I set up an ad account? And someone said, dude, if you're not willing to spend any money, then don't even be here. So out of, pettiness, I was a bit sour. And I learned as much as I could. And I came there and gave all the advice for free. Right? I made sure that everyone that wanted to learn could learn. And in there, I met individuals who were passionate, who wanted to grow, and who had talent, right? Now, talent with hard work is very important. You find someone like that and you treat them well, you have someone on your team that is of extreme high value.
So how many people are on your team right now?
We have actually downsized. I would say maybe about 6 on my individual team, 6. And then that's separated from, Chatbot AI and PayMeGPT, which is our latest venture.
Right.
Yeah.
Every one of them specializes in a different thing.
Now I have them in ways because I'm currently working so much on the AI side of things. When I do have projects or if I do need something done, my entire team that we set off together, I have hooked them up. So they have their own gigs, right? They don't depend on me anymore. But if I need things done, it's one message and they just handle it.
You work with communities all across the globe, not just here in Fiji, but because this show and everything about it is meant to benefit the Fijian people. How many locals reach out to you interested in learning about AI model?
I would say maybe a couple hundred every month.
That's great. I was expecting a lower number. I'm so sorry. That's a fantastic review. Actually, it means that there is genuine progress in this direction, and I'm glad they're going to the right person. But what do they normally ask? What are they interested in?
Usually the one question I get the most is, how do I use AI to make money? Right? And I try to speak with them. I take the time out to speak with them and I say, hey, what is your goal? Like, what do you enjoy doing? Right? What do you really enjoy doing?
You take your time to speak to
Absolutely.
1,000 people?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. It's because I remember being that guy. I remember being that guy, not understanding how certain things worked, wanting more, wanting to do something for myself, and no one being there to help me. I remember that. And so when I see someone come to me and ask a question like, hey, how do I use ChatGPT, or how do you speak to AI? And although they are very simple questions, these are questions that to them, could be a deciding factor on how they look at AI in the future. So if I can help them, if it is within my ability, my power to help them, I will. And it's just a message. It takes me a couple seconds to run out a message, And if it takes a minute or so to respond, then it takes a minute to respond. But I always try to motivate, motivate to, keep following it. If you're interested in it, here's the resources. I'll give them whatever I know, and they can, follow through from there on. They're put on the right path.
Asta, there's a lot of people, for them, artificial intelligence is scary. Like, oh my gosh, this happened to me last night. I had a few relatives that were sending me links and say, hey, we should try this out. Give me some money so I can try to. But it was a scam, obviously.
Right.
So the scam culture is rapid right now and it's very annoying. But at the same time, people tend to associate artificial intelligence and scams. And they're like, oh, he's using ChatGPT. He's not really a smart person. I was like, what? You're using Google,
No, okay, yeah.
But there's that backlash against people who are using artificial intelligence. So what were some of the backlash that you received when you ventured into this project? Because I'm sure some people didn't trust you. Some people was like, oh, you just want to sound crazy right now.
Well, I think I actually, because I've positioned it right from the beginning onto helping people with it and educating, I actually got a lot less backlash than I expected, to be very honest. But the one thing that we got hit with very, very hard in the beginning was the fear of losing jobs. And many people were afraid when they saw what it could do. They're like, hey, my job is in jeopardy. Like it's already difficult to survive. You know, with the jobs that we have, they work hard, especially in Fiji. Everyone works really hard. And the money they earn versus the, living expense doesn't match up. It's a struggle. And so many of them were afraid that we would remove the job opportunities for a lot of people. Because look, I'll be honest, my AI system can replace 8 people, 9 people, 10 people. It can. But we would never position ourselves that way. So what we did is, right from the get-go, when we reach out to a business or when a business reach out to us and we speak with them, we analyze. We look at their current business structure.
Right.
I'd say, for example, John is handling the warehouse. He's handling the Facebook page. He's handling the Instagram. He's sending emails, sending calls. And John's having a hard day, right? He's already dealing with the back. And what happens is again, for example, if John is having a bad day in the back and then comes to the front and talks to a customer and they ask a silly question, in relation, then they can snap, and that leaves a bad image on the business. Now, what we said is we will analyze and we will work with businesses where we have people like John, who is juggling multiple different tasks. We take that, we focus on the AI handling this side, which is communication, so John can do his job and not be stressed.
So you're not trying to take away jobs. You're trying to make it easy for people working
Exactly.
multiple jobs on there.
Exactly. Now, the other thing that we're doing is we're educating certain things such as prompting, right? How AI works, how to, strategically use AI to, make the business more efficient, but with the help of people. So let's say, for example, a business has, let's say, 2 employees, and my AI system would remove them. We will either one say we won't work with you. If we actually work with, it's in our contract. If we work with a business and our system causes someone to lose their job, we have an off switch that we just flick. We have zero tolerance for that. You're gonna have to call whoever it is you fired and ask them to come back to the business, right?
Has that happened before?
Yeah, it has happened, and I have no tolerance for that. I just turn it off, right? And if I know that they're back and I have a guarantee that they will remain there, and I may turn it back on. But this is something that's in the contract, right?
Right.
Now, not to be harsh, but again, we are teaching people how to use AI in a sense where if a business is using AI, let's say the business owner doesn't want to deal with prompting and updating and maintenance and all that stuff. They don't want to. So we teach people how to do it. So there's new job opportunities, right? So again, John, who's maybe doing, back of house, let's say that's taken care of, and now he's doing front, and that's taken care of. Well, we want to teach him how to prompt the AI, how to update the AI, how to maintain the AI.
These are new skills.
New skills. So as AI is growing, because AI is here to stay, it's not going anywhere. And it is not something that we should be afraid of. Like, it isn't, we control it. Yeah. And so if we can learn the skill set on how to use it efficiently, then we can create new job opportunities because it is growing rapidly. And if we continue to educate ourselves on it, create new job opportunities, we move with the trend and aren't left behind.
Let's say I was a person in Fiji who was interested in coming here to have this conversation about AI. Let's say I want to learn about it, but I don't necessarily have a lot of information in the background. And I come to you and I say, Asta, please, I'm interested in learning about AI models. Can you briefly introduce it to me? What is this AI?
The simplest and most time efficient way I would bring this forth to you, I would say here's a link to ChatGPT. Any question you have that you want to ask me, ask it. And that's where you start. After a week, come back to me. And I'll give you the next step. Because hands-on, right? I can talk about theory all day long. I can say, hey, AI can help your emails. It can do your grammar check. It can Google, get latest reports. It can do all of that. But if you don't actually have the hands-on of speaking with it, you don't really understand it. Now, you understand what it does, but you don't know how it works. So if you sit there and you talk to it and like, hey, how are you? And I'll go, hey, how are you? And you say, I'm new. I don't know how to use AI. What should I know first? Then he'll ask you, and you can even say, ask me some questions about myself so you know kind of who I am to make it easier for you to give me better, questions or answers, whatever it is. And then based on that, the conversation carries. But really, ChatGPT is the easiest way for people to.
Really?
Yeah.
For some people, that's the most advanced that they've ever. For me, at the time when I peered into artificial intelligence and I tried ChatGPT, that off the bat was the most advanced technology we would find. You know? And you're telling me it's the simplest out of all.
It is extremely advanced. It is the most advanced, one of the most advanced. I would say it's the easiest to get a feel for AI. Right? It's the easiest because you're like all day long. You're probably sending messages to your family and friends on Messenger, right? Like, hey, how are you? What you doing? Blah blah. It's the same with AI. Just talk to it. Talk to it. Ask it. It's like having your own teacher in your pocket. Now, of course, very important, little disclaimer, AI can make up things. It's called hallucinations.
Yeah.
It's actually called hallucinations. And they pull maybe old information or they just straight up make new information. So you do have to like tell it, Google this, like this is the question I have. Google it. And so it will go out and fetch the latest news and fact check and whatnot, and then give you something a lot more solid than if it was just going off its database.
For someone using Google itself, why would they go to ChatGPT to ask it a question they can just Google themselves?
So if I'm going to, let's say I want to cook butter chicken, and I go on Google, I'm typing how to cook butter chicken. Then I have to go scroll through a few different recipes, see which one is, the best one, in my opinion, click on it, scroll past the ads, find the recipe, follow it step by step, and then cook it.
Just or search it.
If I go to ChatGPT, I say, hey, I want the best South Indian curry, or I want the best tasting butter chicken, or on the creamy side. Then it will focus just on that, and it'll give you an immediate recipe. And if, let's say, for example, the recipe says you need to have a oven, and you don't have an oven, or you say you need to have a pressure cooker, and you don't have a pressure cooker, then you have to look for another recipe on Google. Or on ChatGPT, you just say, hey, by the way, I don't have an oven, or I don't have a pressure cooker, I only have a frying pan. It's like, it adapts. So, okay, cool. If you don't, then no worries. This is how you do it instead. So you're cutting down search time dramatically from looking for, something that is tailored to you on Google, because everything's pre-written, or going to AI and it's picking out the best pieces and creating something custom just for you.
And for a lot of people, is it easy for them to switch? Like when they finally come to you and then you ask them these step-by-step follow-through processes, do they convert? Do they say, okay, maybe this is something I want to...
In my personal experience, there are some that are yet reluctant, and that's okay. That's okay. It takes time. I don't force anyone, right? But let's say, for example, I send to ChatGPT and they talk to you in the, like, especially my elder nanas, right? They're like, oh, Lovengo, I don't trust you. And I'm like, I understand. So what I'll do is I'll look for something that's written, a written study, or maybe something written that explains what ChatGPT is, put it onto something that she can digest, understand in her own pace. And then I try to format it in a way where it explains that AI is not living. It doesn't have like a real brain. It's data, right? It's data prediction. Is trained on data. It's machine learning. So that's what I wanted to read. Of course, simplify it. I did a few videos actually on simplifying AI and put it out. I have to catch up with other things. But yeah, and then usually once they read it on their own terms in their own time, like, okay, I'll give it another try. And then,
Yes.
yeah.
What's the biggest demographic that makes up your customer base? Is it women who are middle-aged, older women, younger men, middle-aged men?
The younger generation.
Younger generation.
Yeah. For the most part, younger generation.
That makes sense.
I would say 16 up, right?
16.
Yeah.
Oh, as young as 16.
Yeah. That's overall, not just Fiji.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I think in Fiji it would be probably, yeah, the younger generation, probably like 17, like that, further up. This younger generation is so quick when it comes to technology. So they've gotten really, what's the word for it? Fluent with it, adopted it. They know how to use it. They know the features of it. So it's amazing to see that. But I'm seeing also many elderly, slowly stepping into that, exploring, looking, taking a step back, going back in. And so I just want to be able to provide as much value for them to feel secure to experience it further.
One of the things that I wanted to delve into a little bit deeply is um how you see AI in the future. Maybe let's end with that. Where do you see AI in Fiji 5 years down the road?
I think it'll be incorporated into pretty much every business. It will create many different job opportunities, new skill sets. I personally believe that everyone should be at least looking into it, seeing how it works, understanding it, so they're not left behind. I see AI transitioning because we call it LLMs, right? LLM, large language model, and that was what I based Features First AI off, right? It was an LLM. There are different AIs. You can say AIs in the past that were before me, but they were not large language model LLMs. They were machine learning. It's different, right? huge resources and things like that. Mine way more efficient. So it was Fiji's first AI on LLMs, AI chatbot, and that can only grow to a certain extent. I think AI is going to transition into physical, so robots, and it is one of the things that is growing rapidly. And NVIDIA is investing so much money into it, and they're building Tesla bots, right? These things are very real. So it's going to go from what it is now, large language models, then these are going to become the brains of the physical AIs, which I think is not something we should be afraid of, because let's say, for example, 20 years down the line, there's a house fire, you don't have to risk our lives anymore. We have then go in and handle that, right? So that's all I can say when the future is unpredictable, but I have high hopes for it.
Well, unfortunately, we have no more time. Like, actually, we went a little bit overhead. I was invigorated in this conversation. At the end of this podcast, do you have any final thoughts or any final message that you'd like to leave with our audience?
I do. The most important thing I would say is keeping God in the center of it all. If I didn't have God in my life, I wouldn't have come as far as I am today. That's extremely important. So the second thing is always follow your dreams. If you have a goal or a dream, always pursue it. No matter how ridiculous, people will always say it's a stupid dream, right? But just go with it. And finally, a quote that motivated me and inspired me when I was building myself up. And I'm still building myself up. And it goes like, everybody wanted to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Thank you so much for your time, Ronnie. Thanks for anybody watching at home. You can always catch this episode online. But if you're watching it on television, thank you so much for taking your time to join us. Really appreciate it. See you next week with a brand new guest, a brand new conversation. Have a good one. Bye bye.